Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am very honored and I thank you on behalf of Meta for the invitation to be here at AOT 3.0. I should start by making a clarification. I will not be making a product announcement. I know particularly excited about our announcement. And there are lots of questions about what does Meta mean and what does the metaverse mean, particularly for Africa. I regret that I will not be speaking about the metaverse today. I will, however, say that even though our name has changed, our mission and our vision remains exactly the same. It is to help people build communities and to bring the world closer together. But in the spirit of this conference, I'd like to make a few points about what we at Meta consider to be the opportune environment to help drive a smarter, more digitally efficient tech ecosystem, not only for Lagos, but for Nigeria as a whole. We are seeing Nigeria embark on its digital transformation. We see platforms playing a key role in the country's development. Companies are seizing opportunities for innovation and leveraging this incredibly vibrant young population, the sizable workforce, the entrepreneurship, the hard work, and the ambition of Nigerians to drive the development of this economy. Startups are on the increase, and I've been very interested to listen to the comments all through the day about the startup bill. I recall a few months ago, there was an FDI intelligence report by the Financial Times, I think it was in March, that ranked Nigeria as one of the top tech ecosystems of the future in Africa. Yeah. But on the other side, I also recall a quote from a World Bank Digital Economy Diagnostic Report that also said that Nigeria is not maximizing its digital economic potential, and it will need to make strategic investments to develop a truly dynamic, transformative digital economy. So what do we think would encourage these strategic investments, and which sectors do we feel are most critically in need of intervention? At Meta, we fully subscribe to connectivity and connectivity technologies as a critical infrastructure. It is incredibly important, even more so now, for individuals and businesses. I know I'm speaking to the converted, but again, I will say it. Africa is the least connected continent, with just under 30% of its 1.3 billion people connected. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted and reinforced the importance of everybody being connected in order to be able to benefit from basic things and critical information like healthcare, education, and the ability to work remotely, to communicate with your families, your friends, business, and even government. We have also seen firsthand the impact that increased connectivity has on communities. We know that economies flourish when there is widely accessible internet for businesses. Connectivity technologies, in our opinion, are critical infrastructure because these technologies have the ability to drive the precise, robust digital economies and strengthen social resilience that we are particularly proud of supporting. I recall reading the vision of the Nigerian digital economy strategy and policy, and it says it is to transform Nigeria into a leading digital economy, providing quality life and digital economies for all. It stands to reason that a thriving tech ecosystem would result in a thriving digital economy for Africa. But the achievement of this really depends on the collaborative efforts of all stakeholders in all our respective spheres. There's a need for the right mix of partnerships, investments, policy, regulatory frameworks, technologies, solutions, business models, and even more connectivity initiatives in order to help us really tackle the challenges. All this can make infrastructure easier and cheaper to deploy and make the tech ecosystem even more attractive for investors. So at Meta, we work to make technology accessible to everybody because we know that this can make economic opportunities even more available. This can help level the playing fields, help businesses grow, create jobs, and strengthen the economy. Yeah. Our connectivity investments in Nigeria, in sub-Saharan Africa, and including Nigeria, really run around on a multiple of platforms. We're investing in working with partners to develop and deploy policy and regulatory frameworks, as I said, innovative technologies and business models, because we recognize that not one single solution will solve the infrastructure or connectivity deficits. So we look to provide investments and to support investments that make this infrastructure easier and cheaper to deploy. One of the examples was just reflected in the video that you just saw, which is our partnership with African and global operators to build 2Africa. 2Africa is the most comprehensive subsea cable to serve the African continent. It will connect 33 countries in Africa, including Nigeria, and to Europe and to the Middle East, and now Asia. When it's completed, 2Africa will be the largest subsea cable system in the world, in excess of 45,000 kilometers. And we expect that it will connect at least 36% of the global population. It is actually the first cable system designed to serve the whole of Africa. We're very proud also that in the extension of this 2Africa cable system, we will have not just one, but 2 landing stations in Nigeria. And we consider this really one of the key steps in our infrastructure and partnership engagements to address the barriers to connectivity in Nigeria. Another of our connectivity initiatives is around the deployment of alternative technologies. We have an aerial fiber deploying robot, which is called Bombix. Now, Bombix uses innovation in the field of robotics and fiber optic cables to deploy fiber along existing electrical infrastructure. For the mere fact that 1, I'm not an engineer, and 2, this is not a product conversation. I'm not going to go into the details of Bombix, but I will say that it is incredibly, it's a fascinating thing to watch. The third part of our infrastructure strategy centers around our express Wi-Fi, our Wi-Fi and our last mile service solutions. So in this sphere, we're looking at, we're deploying things like express Wi-Fi and Telegraph, which are technologies that we developed and brought to the market. Yeah. Telegraph is brought to the market through an ecosystem of partners. And these are commercial deployments that help improve communications infrastructure and supply low-cost, reliable broadband access. In Nigeria, we're working with Tizeti, which is an ISP, and Tizeti uses Telegraph to deliver gigabyte speeds in homes and businesses in Lagos and Benin and a couple of other states as well. We also work with our industry counterparts, because like I said, we really don't believe that one company or one solution will solve the issue. So we work with industry counterparts to deploy open access technologies and solutions. We are members of the Telecom Infra Project, which is a 500-member group, which aims to facilitate discussion and cooperation amongst telecom operators, vendors, governments, and other stakeholders. And the point of this group is really to design, to build and deploy new and more cost-effective technologies and products. Through TIP, we have managed to bring players into the market, players from the market into every step of the value chain, from supporting startups and disrupting traditional vendor models to deploying new technologies, and particularly, promoting competition and innovation. We see this particularly pertinently in Africa. And we are particularly pleased that some of our partners include the largest Pan-African companies like MTN and Vodafone, because they also recognize the requirements for Africa, and we're working closely together to help come up with technologies and solutions that work for this continent. The role of all stakeholders in the tech ecosystem is really to accelerate the development of this tech infrastructure and other resources. And again, to help primarily build and enable a better business landscape. It is essential to help lock the very necessary large and long-term investments to build these services and ultimately a better economy. At Meta, in addition to our investments, we recognize that cooperation between governments and private companies is essential to foster the right environment to power technology and unlock Africa's and Nigeria's rich opportunities. To this end, fit-for-purpose policies and regulatory instruments are really a critical part of enabling a robust tech ecosystem. Listening and learning from the business environment, the government, non-governmental organizations, experts, community leaders, help us identify and help us and attempt to promote really clear and relevant policies for this enabling environment. We are of the opinion that having regulations that are aligned with the process of establishing tech setups would help to ensure that there is no disconnect between introducing new innovative products and services to the market and existing regulatory frameworks. I know that I'm saying this in the context of the last panel. Perhaps I should have said it before, but I will say the last comment I would make on this is that if the Nigerian Startup Bill is passed into law, it will prove to be a great move in the right direction. Not only will the tech ecosystem be strengthened, it would also help close regulatory gaps that exist that concern incorporation, access to capital, licensing, growth, operations, and many others. We've seen time and time again that countries that adopt flexible and innovative regulatory schemes that eliminate excessive regulation that may impose unnecessary barriers are very likely to show higher rates of innovation, investment, and growth. So to end, what do we see as the way forward? What do we see the role of Meta in Nigeria? We see regrettably a disconnect between introducing new products and services to the market and existing regulatory frameworks. Reviewing and updating regulations may delay and tend to delay the materialization of important innovations. And we believe that it is important to adopt regulatory frameworks that are aligned with the innovative process that allows space for learning and regulatory revision as more information becomes available. To this end, regulatory sandboxes present a great opportunity to meet the rapidity and updating needs required for innovation, while still protecting certain government interests. They're dynamic regulatory mechanisms that can be used for proof of concept, experimentation, or just to test new business models to allow for development and deployment. Technologies like Telegraph that work and build value and deliver value only work if particular spectrum bands are available for unlicensed use. Again, we see that license exempt and license Spectrum allocations are critical to the expansion of wireless infrastructure. Ensuring licensed spectrum is available is important to the deployment of Wi-Fi and wide area networks. Together with other stakeholders, we're working with Nigeria to help review and update spectrum policy to ensure the availability of more license-exempt spectrum. Meta and other industry players have also been working with the ATU Secretariat and African administrations to develop spectrum recommendations to ensure that the wide availability and usage of licensed and license-exempt spectrums can accelerate this rollout of high broadband connectivity across the continent. Nigeria has been very active in this conversation, and it has demonstrated incredible thought leadership, and we are extremely proud to be part of that conversation. We thank also the Ministry of Communications and the NCC for working with us and with industry to review and update spectrum frameworks in Nigeria. We appreciate their willingness to collaborate with private sector players like Meta to develop frameworks that enable Nigerian ISPs to leverage these technologies. In closing, I will just say that the NCC National Digital Policy, Strategic Policy has 8 pillars to guide all stakeholders in its 2030 vision. Our hope and our expectation is that all stakeholder groups, including companies like Meta, can collaboratively work towards this clear vision by investing in no small measure in the ecosystem via areas of our core competencies. More than ever before, all stakeholders, including strategic partners, can play a role in ensuring a systemic impact for a vibrant tech ecosystem in Nigeria and in Lagos. On behalf of Meta, I thank you once again for the opportunity to speak on our commitments and our passion for Nigeria. I thank you for your kind attention, and I wish you all a most successful conference.